We visit with the mayors on Wednesday, and John Nichols here this morning from the city of College Station. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Thank you very much. It's a beautiful day and looks like a great weekend coming up.
And we finally got that city council thing settled. We now have everybody, huh?
Yeah, we do. And we've got 3 new council members coming in. They'll be sworn in at 3 p.m. on Thursday. That'll be the opening part, and we'll say goodbye to the departing council members, give them a good send-off and have a reception. Then we go to work.
Now, and David White had said, gosh, I get elected, I get sworn in, it's time to go to work. And Brian Woods was in last week, and we were talking about orientation. Tell me, as mayor, what kind of contact you've already had with those who you knew were going to be sitting on council as far as getting ready for this?
Well, I've offered to have a meeting. Of course, even during the election, or before the election, I had a chance. A couple or 3 of the candidates came in, visited with me, and visited the city manager as well about issues, general kinds of things that they need to be aware of. But yeah, since the election, I have visited with 2 of the 3. Well, I guess one of them is this morning with Mr. Schaefer. Of course, he just got the certified, I guess, last night. So I don't know whether I'll catch up with him before Thursday or not. But I've known him for a long time, and we'll see.
Sure. Well, and in the case of everyone, actually, I guess David White is the one who's on the most outside. The rest of them have been active in College Station government, either speaking before council or being on boards and commissions and planning and zoning, and so they have a shorter learning curve. I would think.
That's true, but David's been in the association executive for a long time, served on boards, and has been the executive working for boards. And he was on planning and zoning for a year, and then he's been on Parks Board for a couple of years. So he's got some connections here, and with his father being former mayor, he's generally familiar with the overall picture of things. The questions we actually talk about is really just process. What do I need to be prepared for in terms of how do we handle these kinds of procedural things and preparation for meetings and all of that. That's really what my conversations have been, not so much about issues at this point.
Sure. So let's move. Yesterday you were over on campus and went to the Innovation Now conference. What were your takeaways there?
Well, I was there for the first opening session and the announcement of the Plug and Play initiative that Texas A&M and the 2 cities and the former Brazos Valley Economic Development Corporation, whose new name I keep stumbling over, have put in place. And then there were a couple of panels. The first one was on AI, and started out fairly basic with sort of definitional stuff, and then talked expansively about the cost, impact, need, all of that sort of thing. And then the third panel, the next panel was really interesting. It was really more on sustainability of our support systems to maintain that, particularly future energy opportunities. And I was quite impressed with the quality of the discussion, the focus, and the moderators make a difference. There was Wall Street Journal moderator for the second panel on AI, and the third panel was a investor type person, and they really did dig deep into that whole area of investing in the future energy sources.
Well, let's talk from when it comes to energy. College Station, you kind of took your first bite at the apple as to whether or not you wanted to be a generator, and right now things don't align. But based on what you heard yesterday, how does that future look as far as College Station being an actual energy provider?
Well, there's really 2 sides to that story. Do we want to get into production or not? If we see the effort that the state is making to incentivize the gas-fired startup plants, the wholesale energy, wholesale electricity could be pretty cheap. And does it make sense to be competing with those people that really know what they're doing and have big investments already where they can add on a couple more generating opportunities? And BTU is one of those. I mean, they're a good partner to the state, and they feed into that grid all the time. But if wholesale electricity is going to be cheaper in the future, why would we want to invest in one of those peaking power plants at this point? So we looked at it because of the opportunity to get low-cost, subsidized loans from the state of Texas, which is all in on this, and will be in on it, I think, the next legislative session. But then you look at the applications that were coming in. We had a good opportunity, but we knew it probably would not rise to the top of the list of maybe 20 or 25 they could fund.
Now, Rellis being in Bryan and other things that they're doing in Rellis, we're looking at the small nuclear generators. They're looking to do that within the system. Bryan has some space and some infrastructure that helps them. Tell me what College Station, where are the opportunities for College Station from what you heard yesterday, as far as just what the city will do on your side?
Well, I don't know what I heard yesterday impacts where we are. I think the larger picture is how will College Station grow? Who do we serve in the future? It isn't just energy needs, it's infrastructure, it's housing, it's transportation systems, network, and all of that. And I've talked here on this show about our limitations in terms of annexation. We're 53 square miles now. How much bigger are we likely to get? We're going to grow up. We don't necessarily have the space for a lot of big industrial 200 or 300 acre options like the county and the city of Bryan have to the west and the north and the east. So I think it really hinges around what we see as the future of College Station and who we're serving. We are the home of Texas A&M University. It's the largest employer in the area, and they're going to be growing, and they're going to be growing good, high-paying jobs. And those folks have got to be considered, and we've got to be competitive in terms of the services we offer so that the university can attract the quality of people they want here. So I think our future vision is probably different than the future vision of the city of Bryan. And that translates down to what are our electricity needs. And that gets us back to whether we would host something that is a big electricity demander. We might, but then we'd have to make sure we got tie into the wholesale market, or we've got to decide we're going to build our own. But I think if we build our own, it would be a peaking plant that would feed into this system just like the state wants to build out. So I don't see our choices as being the same as the choices in the city of Bryan about what they need to do. And frankly, the Rellis campus has got a tremendous potential, and that's in the city of Bryan. BTU is already a first-class electrical generating system. They can do a great job, and we're happy to see that happen.
Well, and so people understand, too, you have reached the limits as far as your utility service area.
Well, that's true.
And the last thing you want is to actually have a house outside that utility area where you're having to provide other city services and you don't get the benefit of the revenue that you get from utilities.
We already have that.
I know, you're already there.
Water and electricity, and it does provide confusing signals to citizens who are inside the city, citizens of College Station, vote for the city council, and yet are getting served by BTU and Wellborn Water.
So that means, what do you see from Austin that may change and make the whole idea of annexation different than it looks today?
Well, the fear is, and I'm speaking for myself now, is that they've already pretty much made it almost impossible to annex any big sections of land unless it's owner driven, and there aren't many big tracts of land left on the edges of City College Station. What I'm really concerned about is the current debate over the option to remove themselves from the ETJ, remove land, and we've got 8 or 10 or 11 of those applications. We've denied them all because we are in a judicial process to work through whether that's conflicting with our current ordinances and the state's current laws. So I hope that doesn't go any further. I think it's a big mistake to not have engagement of the city in the ETJ, and that'd be my biggest fear, is losing ETJs entirely. And I know there are people in Austin that they'll talk about that.
Yep.
Makes for planning, providing services in those extraterritorial areas is really impossible. You'll have a jumble of different kinds of developments and different kinds
patchwork
of
quilt, if you will.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and some of the patches on the quilt don't match the other patches on the quilt. And when you don't have matching patches, then you're in problem.
There you go. Anything else for us today?
Well, yeah, I want just to mention that on Thursday we're in a workshop session. We're going to be talking about the new overview of the Mabel Claire Thomas Park. Remember, that was voted in by the voters, so we've got a workshop item on that. We will be considering the final agreement with City of Bryan, interlocal agreement on the Northeast Trunk Line, which does include over $1 million of design cost for the lift station, which we're now going to be building. And that probably indicates that it's a $7 to $10 million investment for that lift station in order to go around the Rosemary area to go up Cooner, and that's on the agenda as well. I want to remind people today is the last day to apply to enter a float in the Christmas parade.
Ah,
And I know there is a Santa Claus involved in that, and I think he's already in, so I don't think we need to worry about him. But others out there that haven't yet applied, be sure you do that. Next week on the 19th, November is Entrepreneurship Month across the nation. Our economic development group hosts Business Over Breakfast, and at 8:30 next week at 1207 building there next to City Hall, we're going to hold that Business Over Breakfast event, and we're going to be announcing another entrepreneurial strategic partnership. Not just plug and play. We got that done. This is a more localized effort that the city of College Station is going to be offering to small businesses and interested parties here in the community. Wellborn Road widening. You remember that?
oh yeah.
TxDOT's holding a session. I don't recall the exact date. I think it's the Bill Oliver's probably got the date.
I'm sure he does.
It's down at the middle school in. Let me get down here to it.
Sure.
November 21st, 5 to 7:30 p.m. at the Wellborn Middle School, and there is a presentation associated with it at 6 p.m. So it's partly a meet and greet, and you look at all of the design elements that they've now put into it after the previous public hearings, and then there will be a presentation at 6 p.m. And so my friends in Wellborn that have interest in that whole area. It's been debated a lot
Sure.
about what's going to happen going through downtown Wellborn, but TxDOT's planning to widen that highway, and that's probably more critical to College Station than the inner loop discussion was last week, which was a really great turnout.
Yeah, but this is
has a
this
little
is,
less impact on College Station immediately.
right. That's a week from tomorrow. Let me go back to the ILA for a minute. Is that pretty much taken care of, or could
the staff has negotiated with the staff in Bryan. The issue is we've got to go through the city of Bryan's area, their wastewater treatment plant there on the creek. Mm-hmm. We've already got lines through there, but we needed space to build another line through there. Sure. And negotiating all of the technical aspects of that took some time to get people on the same page. Mm-hmm. So that plus the West Side agreement, where they're going to put $200,000 into a future extension of their lines to help us then do away with the lift station over on the west side, which has been there for a long time.
Yep, it has.
And a long-term commitment for them to begin to serve more of the east side of Bryan, the east side, I should say, east of Highway 30, which where we've stepped in because we can handle that. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, City of Bryan, it's all in City of Bryan. They need to take it over. And that's a long-term part of the agreement as well.
Right. So we're getting it worked out.
That was the whole idea.
Yeah, right.
This was more of a holistic set of discussions and agreements in this ILA. It wasn't just about the Rosemary Beverly Estates area.
That's the one that got all the attention.
But got publicity, but that wasn't what it was all about. So anyway, thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity.
Yep, that's John Nichols. He's the mayor of College Station.